Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's July 5th, 2025, and it's Just My Opinion Bob with another installment of something to fall asleep to. I hope everybody had a nice 4th of July. It was nice down in South Carolina. So today's video is called, let me see, I made some notes because there's a lot of things I wanted to cover. It's how to sell your guitar collection or how to dispose of your guitar collection. What I'm going to cover is when I talk about people's collection, what I mean is the everyman's collection, all right, or the common man. I watched, the reason I'm making this is I watched a video the other night of, as you do on YouTube, I saw an auction with Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits. His guitars were going off. I mean, going off at incredible prices. And I'm looking at the people that are buying them, and a lot of these are phone bids, and it's all black suit and tie and stuff. And so many of these people, and this auction took place, you know, these are probably a year ago. The economic times were a little bit different, but still, there's so many, even today, there's so many people that are investing in guitars. They don't necessarily play them. They're doing it for investment purposes, collectibles. You can put this in your IRA and your folder, and it has nothing to do. It really has nothing to do with the value of the guitars. It's just what it's trading at. Well, I guess that is the value of it, but you know what I mean? It's just a guitar. A lot of these people are not musicians. Now, there are a lot of musicians that do bid and have their big collections. Obviously, Mark Knopfler did. But I'm not talking about that. I see collections by Eric Clapton, David Gilmour. And what I hear at the end is always, the auctions didn't realize the prices they were actually looking for. So I don't know. I mean, are people just bidding on this partly because they're celebrities? I think they are. I mean, not for people that have their 15 minutes of fame, but people that have somewhat of a good career. People will buy a lock of hair from them, or probably their dirty underwear, anything. They don't care. Everything sells. So yeah, the guitar's going to sell for something. Not that it's any special than maybe the same one you or I own, but this guy owned it, or this girl owned it, and to them it's the whole world. It's their dream. So yeah, go for it. But again, this is how to dispose of the common man's collection. And let me say right from the get-go, if you are one of those viewers that invested in guitars for an investment, this video will not appeal to you. I did not invest for investment purposes. I bought guitars because I like them. And when I'm done with them, I would just like to sell them. So that's what this is going to be geared for. I saw the actor Richard Gere, his collection, that sold quite a while ago. The only common thing me and Richard Gere have is he bought his same first guitar, and I bought my first guitar in the same music store in North Syracuse, Camille Music. That's as far as we go. Otherwise, he went like this. He had an outstanding collection, and he was buying all these rarities. Now, did you ever hear Richard Gere play the guitar? Or what kind of a star was he? He was a movie star, but I didn't know he was really musical. He's probably as musical as you and I. But he had some money, and he liked guitars, and he invested in them. That's what he wanted to do. And now he auctioned them off, and that all went to charity. So in my case, I have, as you know, I have 20 plus guitars because I have my 20 here, and I have some guitars up in New York because we stay at both places. We go back and forth occasionally. But there's a lot of people, seriously, that have much more. There's a lot of people that have hundreds of guitars. You get into that number, and it's harder and harder to dispose and to sell them. So I'm just going to try and cover some key points. In my case, I have 20, and I think I've mentioned this in other videos. What I'll do, and I'm in the process of it now, I'm going to start, and I'll report as I go along if you would like to hear. But I'm going to get my collection down to something like what's in back of me. I'm going to have an electric guitar. I am going to have an electric acoustic 12-string. I'm going to have an electric acoustic 6-string. And then I'm just going to have an acoustic 6-string, something I can just take outside and It's not a real expensive guitar. I mean, if dirt gets on it or a couple raindrops get on it, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I've got maybe $100 into it. So it's just a bang around guitar. Take it to a campfire, take it out at night, and if it drops on the ground, it drops on the ground, but it won't be one of my good guitars. So that's what I mean. I'll get this down to about 4, possibly maybe have a bass guitar, and I really think that's it. So with that said, how do you dispose of your guitar collection? Well, the key thing here is, first of all, number one, you have to look at what the current economic condition is in the country. That's going to dictate not only guitar sales, it's going to dictate TVs, computers, everything, bongos, whatever, everything it's going to dictate. You got to look at the current economic condition and try and make the best of whatever the condition is. Sometimes it's highly in your favor, sometimes it's not. And we're not going to talk politics or anything like that. It's just whatever the economic condition is. The second thing you have to look at is disposable income. How much disposable income do people have? And do people just buy things to buy things? Then that's a lot of disposable income. And you stand a little better chance of selling your guitar. Then you have to look at the market, the supply and demand. That's the other key thing. It's just economics. You have to look at how many of a particular model. Are you trying to sell an inexpensive Les Paul? Well, there's also 500 other ones for sale that are inexpensive Les Pauls. So throw your hat in the ring and just hope for the best. But I'm not saying a rarity, a one of a kind, is going to sell it either. It's whatever somebody wants. It's supply and what is the demand. Maybe there's a lot of people who want that inexpensive Les Paul, so you just don't know. I'm probably going to forget some things, and you can leave them in your comments of points I maybe should have made but didn't. But the very first thing you should do with your collection, if you have a collection like mine, if you have whatever you want to do with your collection, the first thing you should do is save what you want. Don't save what's left over. Don't say, oh, I sold this and I sold that, and now I'm just left with this. No. First of all, save what you want. And get that set. Don't let that part with you. Sell everything else, all right? But keep what you want first. Otherwise, you'll just be stuck with something. You don't want to sell something you really wanted to hang on to. So get that marked up first and go through your guitars and decide what's so important that you got to keep. And that's what I did. So, and this is basically it. These guitars I pulled out, this Gretsch, the Fender, the Peavey, the Alvarez, that's basically what I would have. So if you want to, the quickest way to dispose of a collection, and if you don't care about the price, if you're in a situation maybe similar to what I am, where I don't have a lot invested, if you don't care what the market is and you want to just do something fast, the quickest way would be Reverb. You can write Reverb, tell them what you got, give them a description. List it very detailed, list the condition of it, case, no case, bag, gig bag, whatever, how it play, all the details on it. Does it have a pickup, the whole thing? And they'll send you an offer. And you can do it that way. And Reverb now, as of this date, is doing more and more as far as buying. And now Reverb is going to start this new service where you can even drop it off locally. So that'll be pretty convenient. Now, you're going to get top dollar. It's not going to get top dollar like if you sold it yourself, but I just said if you want the fastest, quickest way to do it, you do Reverb. Also, you can go to Guitar Center. Guitar Center, if they're buying, you have to do the climate. You have to look at the economic conditions. Reverb, Guitar Center, a local music store. If they're flooded with used stuff, no, they're not going to buy it, or they're not going to give you close to what you should get, even in their eyes, because they're just overloaded. But you can go to Guitar Center and see what kind of offer they make you. Your local music store, if they're not, because it's like used cars. They're going to make more money on a used musical instrument than they are on a new one, most likely. The way it's been running lately with manufacturers selling to these mom and pop stores, their markup is getting lower and lower and lower. It's kind of like the car market now. They're better off selling used. But so you try that. It's the other way to do it is if you could sell the whole part. Let me see. Let's say you have 10 guitars you want to sell. You could list them all as the 10 guitars and take your best offer from one of these places, or sell 3. Get 3, and maybe you can finagle it a little bit more where it's a little bit more satisfactory to you. This applies to listing it on Marketplace also. If you're selling it as an individual, yeah, you can sell 1 guitar, but I have listed 5 guitars, and I'd say a small guitar collection, 5 guitars. And I put in a price, 1 price buys all, or here's the separate prices. That's worked out very good for me in the past. I don't know how that is now. I would have to try that now with these economic conditions and see what happens. I really think the market is extremely slow right now, and I don't see a lot of stuff selling. So that may be a different story now. But back when I did it, I had very good success with that. 10 guitars, you got to hope somebody wants all 10 that you're selling for 1 price. Collectors are collectors, and they're very picky. Some collectors already have maybe 2 or 3 that you already have, and they don't care about the bundled price. So that's how that goes. But again, that's just another option. If you piece it out on Marketplace, just remember this, and also remember this for Reverb or Guitar Center. Please, it does not matter what you paid for that guitar. That's irregardless. If the guitar was worth $500 and you paid $600 for it because you just loved it and had to get it, that was on you. That was on you. If you got that same guitar, that $500 guitar for $100, that's great. You got a good deal. But irregardless of what you paid, the current market conditions are going to dictate what you can get for it. Because it's the same old saying, whether it's any kind of collectible guitars, antiques, whatever, it's only worth what somebody wants to pay for it. And that is the truth. It's only worth what someone wants to pay you for it. That's a hard thing to swallow sometimes, but unfortunately, it's often true. I use myself, you have your own system maybe, but I find I use Guitar Center prices. And when I'm saying prices, let's talk about an Alvarez 12-string. I look at, and I have a used one, so I look at Guitar Center and I see what are they getting for used Alvarez 12 strings. I'm just going to use round numbers, and these figures are probably fictitious because I haven't looked it up, all right? But let's say a used Alvarez 12 string selling for $500 on Guitar Center. I would like to price mine. In other words, I price it at 20% less if I'm going to run an ad for it in Marketplace. And I will take a total of 30% less when it's all said and done. So in other words, the guitar on Guitar Center is selling for $500 used. I list mine, and I list it for $400 used. I want to be 20% under what Guitar Center, because everybody that's going to buy your guitar or see it in the listing, they're all going to go to Reverb or eBay or Guitar, and they're going to say, well, look, they're selling them used here for $500. Why are you charging? You're only charging, and you're charging $500. What's the big deal? Or you're charging $400. Give people a break. Give them some incentive to buy it. So I'm going to go in at $400. And if the person is like me, they're going to come and dicker and go back and forth, and here, can you do this and that, and there's a scratch on it, and I can't, the polish, I like it shinier. Can you take $350? Okay, I'll take $350. So in other words, I've taken 30% less than what I was asking, and that's all I wanted. That I was satisfied with that. Now, if I paid a lot of money for the guitar, then I'm out. But it doesn't matter how much I paid for it. In this case, I didn't. I only paid $100, $150. But that was at a certain time where I could have paid more than that now. But it doesn't matter. It's only what it's selling for now. So that's why these people that say, "Oh boy, you get a Martin or you get a Taylor, and you got an investment right there. You're never going to lose money on that." What are you talking about? You're never going to lose money. Take a D45, Martin D45. They're selling for $12,000, brand new. Hey, go look at the used market on Guitar Center. Some of them are like, I don't know, some are down to $6,000. Where's the investment there? Yeah, it's $6,000 compared to a $200 guitar, but man, if you laid out that much money to buy it new, to me that's a big loss. But everybody's got their logic. So, and I'm not going to disagree with anybody. Whichever way you think is fine, do it. I'm just explaining the way I do it and what I use. So again, I use Guitar Center and I go with that formula. You can also use things like eBay and check if they're selling what you have. And you always check the box that says completed items, because it's like Reverb. Don't look at what they're selling them for. Those are fictitious prices. They are not real prices. You can do it with Reverb too, but it takes a little more effort. On eBay, it's simple. You just go to filter, hit completed items. It'll show you what that Alvarez 12 string has sold for. I think it'll go up to a year. It'll show you what it brought, the actual price it brought. You can do the same thing with Reverb too, because you'll see it's just a little more effort to do it on Reverb. It's not as fast or as quick as it used to be. So that's a good thing to have. The other problem I have with selling a guitar, and I don't know if you people experience this or not, probably the most popular question when you list a used guitar for sale is, does it have a case? And most times I'll say, well, it comes with a bag. And they'll say, well, okay, I'd really like a case. And that's the other problem. Cases have gotten, here's a good example. Now again, this is an extreme example. This is an Alvarez. This is an Alvarez archtop case. And you can look it up on Sweetwater. It's a DC1 for Dreadnought. These cases here, I was buying these used. No, I was buying these used. Let me say that again. I was buying them new, but they were open box. And a lot of times with a case, hold it, Bo. A lot of times with a case, it means somebody bought the wrong size case. So I'm very safe buying an open box. Plus, if it does have a mark on it or a little tear or something like that, it's a case. Who cares? Who cares what it is? It's a case to protect your guitar. I don't care if there's a mark or something on it. Yeah, if I can save some money. So anyways, I was getting these cases here for approximately $100. They listed for $139. The jumbo was $149. And they're a great case. No doubt about it. They're super. They're made out of wood. Great case. These cases currently are $300. $300 for the case. You check it out at Sweetwater. Unbelievable. That's a lot that I paid for a lot of my guitars. That's more money I paid for some of the guitars. It's tough then when somebody wants a hard shell case with it. So usually I'll give them the price of a guitar and say, here's what it is. Because Guitar Center is the same way. You don't get a case with all those used guitars. And I'll say if you want a hard shell case, it's another $100. Otherwise, I can give you a gig bag. Because gig bags you can pick up. A nice gig bag, you can pick them up cheap enough. $20, $25. So that's that hitch. What was the other thing? And then if you get, here's the other thing I wanted to talk about is somebody lowballing you or an offer that you're shaking your head at. You have 3 guitars. Let's say you paid $300 each for them. Just round figures again. And you take it somewhere. You take it to a pawn shop. You take it to one of these guitar stores, whatever. And they tell you, I can give you $150 for all 3 of them. Take it or leave it, $150. So in other words, they're going to give you $50 a guitar for 3 guitars. At that point, for $50, I'm going to donate that guitar to somebody that might want it. Might even be one of my friends that always liked a certain guitar. Say, here, take it. For $50, what's that? That's a birthday gift. Same thing, if some kid shows an interest in guitar or wants to learn, I'm going to give it to him. What's that? I'm turning down $50 to put a smile on somebody else's face for $50. I'll do it every time. The last thing I want to say is, regardless, again, of what you paid for that guitar, did you personally, did you get your money out of it? And what I mean is, did you get your enjoyment out of it? Did you just buy it and it sat there and you just used it as a treasure or something to look at? Or Or did you enjoy that guitar? I mean, did you have good times with it? Did you make some good music? A lot of people will play a guitar until it just won't play anymore. It needs a lot of work. And man, there's somebody that got their money out of that guitar, if you paid a reasonable price for it. But as long as you got your money out of it and you had fun with it, what the hey, let it go. Let it go. And then people like me at my age, you end up having so much stuff anyways, you have to start weeding out. And you never want to leave a mess like a guitar collection to a family member to dispose of. It's such a hassle. It's not fair to put that on anybody, any kind of a collection, because I've been through that with family. So that's really all I wanted to cover today, and I hope some of you are still awake from me talking. And till the next time, talk to you later. Just my opinion, Bob.